Senator Alyssa Slotkin is a Democrat representing Michigan. She was elected to the House in 2018, the same freshman class as the women who will become the newest governors in the nation, Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey, Abigail Spanberger of Virginia, and Senator Slotkin joins me now. Let me ask you, Senator, first on that, since you do know these women very well, you were in that same freshman class, you have somewhat similar backgrounds, how you were feeling last night about their victories.
Well, it was a great night, and I was sitting with some of the other service and veteran folks from that same class of 2018, watching our good friends, you know, the badass women, as we were called, you know, do really great things in New Jersey and Virginia. And I think what's really important is that they're mission-driven people. I mean, from their service before Congress and now representing their states, they understand not just sort of the role of being a governor, but the importance of laying down a strategy to achieve the thing you want and then following through. And I think that's something that Democrats can learn from them. Have a plan, execute, don't just admire the problem, as we say.
Admire the problem. I love that one. Trump has sort of one move in these circumstances. He's not going to come out and be like, well, you know, they got us last night and we got to pivot, right? So today he's ranting about the filibuster and apparently got quite heated, like behind the scenes in this Senate luncheon, even sort of yelling at Lindsey Graham about it. That the way to stop the shutdown isn't to address the health insurance premium subsidies or anything else, but to nuke the filibuster. What do you think about that?
Well, look, I mean, first of all, I would say I thought the president was pretty frank this morning about the fact that, you know, they lost and accepting some lumps for that, which was probably not what the Republicans in the room wanted him to say publicly, but he did it. And then he's finally clicking in to the shutdown. I mean, that for me is really important because, you know, we need to negotiate with the decider, right? Donald Trump is the guy, the art of the deal guy. He's the guy who really tells the Republicans whether they can make a deal or not. So for those of us who are interested in ending the shutdown and having it be something important on health care, I want to get in the room with the decider. And so I'm glad that he's clicking in. The filibuster and getting rid of the filibuster, I think, is something that he's using maybe to pressure the conversation. But he knows that health care is a vulnerability for him. He's the politician that seems to be dictating everything for the Republicans in the Senate. So I think it's good to have him getting in the game. He was in China. He was doing other things. Now it's time to sit in a room and get something done.
There was a lot of debate, right, back when the first omnibus was passed in the spring, I believe it was. Senate leadership under Chuck Schumer found the 8 or 9 votes necessary to pass the package, right? Most Democrats didn't vote for it. Most voted against in the House. There was talk about, like, is this caving to Trump? And then there was a lot of debate about the strategy going into this, right? And Democrats kind of said, look, we can't abide what's happening if we don't address health care subsidies. Do you think there's some vindication for that strategy, given that it did have some risk, right? That these elections and last night happened amidst the shutdown, right? Like, the argument for it was you need to fight, you need to illustrate to people what's at stake here. And yes, maybe you take on some risk, but the risk is worth it. Like, do you think that strategy has been vindicated by last night?
Well, look, I don't think anyone likes a government shutdown. I'm a former federal government employee. I don't think anyone wants it. But I do think that people understand that when Trump runs roughshod over kind of the basic lines between separation of powers between the executive branch, the judicial branch, the legislative branch. When the Republicans do whatever he says, right, literally just give away their own power in kind of an amazing way to see. And if he's going to abuse the responsibilities that he has when we're in normal government times, when the government is funded, then, you know, what's the point? It's not like keeping the government open means that Trump is painting inside the lines and doing everything according to the law. He's not. He's taking the money that Congress appropriates and spending it the way he wants to spend it. So I think he pushed us to a place where it's like, look, if you really want us to vote for something, you're going to have a conversation with us. You're going to have to talk about the things we care about. We didn't do that in March. I think that was a mistake back in March, and we're doing it now. But that said, we can't go on forever. We need to actually bring this to a culminating point, and that's why we just want to get in the room with President Trump and have the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the necessary precondition to an end here, right? Like, there has to be some conversation and negotiation, right? Am I crazy?
No, I mean, I think, in my former life in national security, I was negotiating with the Russians or with the Iraqis or with different. There is no such thing as just assuming that everyone's going to go along with your plan without talking to them. It just doesn't. It's not how adults function, right? And so I think, and many of us, I'm a big girl. I understand that the Republicans have the House, the Senate, the White House. They have everything. So I'm not going to get everything that I want, and I think we're going to need to accept that. But am I going to fight, particularly given the cost of healthcare and that people are seeing crazy things like 600% increases in their prices? Yes. And but adults can get in a room and compromise. I don't think it's a dirty word.
Yeah.
But it starts from, hey, man, you want my vote? You're going to have to talk to me.
That seems fair. Senator Elizabeth Slotkin of Michigan, thank you very much. Still to come, stepping back from Election Day, what to make of last night's results, what it all means from the man in the White House next.